All right, before we begin, let's thank our sponsors. Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite pest and wildlife control. But that's not all. Inspect All Pest Services will take care of your insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, and other home services in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. InspectAllServices.com. Big thanks to the Aurora Law Firm. That'd be one Mad Dog Manny Aurora and Pew Pew. The AuroraLawFirm.com litigates all of the United States, based out of Georgia, whether it's criminal defense, white-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, appeals, and more. That would be the Aurora Law Firm. Ridgeline Counseling, Dr. David Markwell and his therapist. 3 locations in Georgia, one across from Sprayberry High School in Sandy Plains and East Cobb. Marietta near the square in McKaysville, just outside of Blue Ridge. But the good doctor can talk to you wherever you are at with a virtual session. Schedule that today via markwelltherapy.com or email him directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. FPC Insurance, perfect for new homeowners, or if you're just looking to reshop those current insurance policies, which is never a bad idea. 5-star service, shop over 35 A-rated companies, multi-policy bundle discounts. They'll help you shop for carriers to find insurance for your house, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or even a personal policy. 888-308-1841. You can always get a quote online, FBCInsuranceServices.com. Alternate Power Solutions of Georgia, family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer offering sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. Never lose power again. They're the best at what they do, hands down, no doubt about it. Every customer at Alternate Power Solutions gets an upgraded warranty, free monitoring with a service contract. They offer flexible financing, semi-annual and annual service contracts for existing installations, and warranty repair. A-plus rating with the BB&B. Call or request a free home assessment. You can do that by calling 770-853-7571 or go to poweringgeorgia.com. Don't forget the discount code Bailey, my last name, Bailey, for $500 off your entire installation, servicing Georgia and Tennessee. Jayco Contracting, gutter and roofing specialist. Give Cliff Bratcher a call. Two-peer Cliff Bratcher. This is the hardest working guy in the business and the most trustworthy. 770-316-3876. He works every day of the year. Don't worry about it. He's got you. Licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialist covering all of Georgia. They are a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, the creator of the Pink Panther, not the you know what I mean. Free gutter guards with the purchase of a roof. Satisfaction guaranteed, commercial and residential. JaycoContracting.com. And, of course, Cliff Bratcher, 770-316-3876. And Live Ozone Therapy Spa, Central Florida's first and only ozone therapy spa, also offering red light therapy, presotherapy, halo therapy, PEMF, and also chromiotherapy, plus many ozone-infused products online like the magnesium butter. You can go to liveozoneTherapySpa.com to book your appointment or to purchase any of those products. And for all 2 peers, if you use the code BS10, you get a 10% discount at checkout. All right, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, please reach out to me via thebaileyshow.com. Let's have a conversation, see how the BS podcast can help your brand. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast. A guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS. That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
Yeah, there it is. Episode 351 of the BS podcast. Thanks for being here. Your freebie episode, you cheap bastards. Subscribe. We had actually a really good week last week. So if you'd like to join that party, you can go to thebaileyshow.com and subscribe and get hundreds of episodes and thousands of hours of content that you've missed out on your whole entire life. You wake up each and every morning and you feel this void in your soul. It's because you've missed out on 350 episodes of the BS. Actually, there's more than that. I lost count after a while and I screwed it up. So thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. There's the Bald Badger. That's Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin.
Howdy. Hey, what's a freebie mean?
What's a what?
Free Bay. I know it's a free episode.
That's what it is. It's a free episode. I worked with a girl in Atlanta, Brandy Britton, who actually just got hired for a radio job in Orlando, which I'm very excited for.
Heard about that.
Yeah. So she's extremely talented. Loved working with her and still keeping contact with her. Actually, last time I talked to her, she texted me and she said she had a dream about me. It wasn't like that, but that was the last time I talked. Anyway, so she used to call me J-Bay. And I forget how it started. So somebody might be able to remind me or refresh my brain. And I don't remember. I remember J-Bay was a thing. So that's actually where I got it from. Free Bay.
I like origin stories. I like to know this stuff.
Free Bailey episodes. Free Bay episodes. Like Rachel and I call each other, like collectively, we are Ray J. So Rachel J. Son, right? You get it?
Yep.
When you put them together,
yep.
You understand, right?
Yeah, I'm there with you. Yeah. Free Bailey. I get, yeah.
Yeah, you see that? And then when Rachel and I do it, Rachel, it's for short is Ray.
Yeah.
And short for Jason is J.
And then you could just be Ray J Bay guy.
Ray J Bay Free Bay. Exactly.
How long can we make this happen?
See what we're doing here. Bunch of free Ray J Bay J.
Together we are Baybad. See.
Baybad. We're Baybad. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Baybad. It's a Baybad episode. I like that. I really like that.
I'm here for you.
Or a Ben Bay. Or a baby.
Baby kids.
Baby. We're baby. We're Ben J. We're Ben Bay. Ben Gay.
I don't know if Rachel's gonna like us having pet names on the show here.
I know you're gonna come over and be like, "Hey, baby,
really?"
She get all pissed off. We're like, "We're Ray J. You can't be Bebe. Are you gay?"
And there goes my shins.
Yeah, start kicking you.
She's gonna sick Milton on me.
So yeah, this is a free Bay episode. So if you do want to subscribe, please do so by going to thebaileyshow.com. Thank you very much. And thank you. Here's what I've noticed about the podcast. In the last, I think I said this like maybe a month and a half or 2 months ago, maybe before you joined, but I started seeing this kind of interesting, I don't want to say pivot. It was more of an expansion. Because truth be told, most of my listeners are in Georgia. There's no doubt about that. The second highest demographic I have is in Florida for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. And because I've been back in Orlando, I'm assuming because we're also on WJRR in Orlando, Saturday mornings from 6 to 9 and Planet Radio in Jacksonville from 6 to 9. I'm assuming those shows are working because I'm starting to see the Florida audience get bigger. Bigger, which is really good. So like the last week and a half, we had a nice uptick in subscribers. So thank you for doing that. And I'll go through and I'll look at the subscriber list and I don't see names. It's just emails. So I'll recognize a lot of you guys use your screen names in your emails. So I can kind of put those together and figure out who you are. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, I appreciate it. It's, this is not the easiest business to be in if you're not a Rogan or a Theo Vaughn or, those types of guys. So it is a grind each and every day. And we do our best, sometimes we hit, sometimes we don't, it is what it is. But thanks for hanging out and sticking with us. And thanks to the new subscribers. This is a free episode, so you don't have to worry about subscribing. But thanks to those that have subscribed. I do appreciate that. That's very cool.
We always look forward to spurts, don't we, Bailey?
Definitely a spurting. Dude, my life has been all about spurts. Like for the past year, I've been spurting. That's all I've been doing. I've been
one word to say.
And I am not a spurter. I am not a spurter at all. But I will tell you, the last 12 months of my life, I've been spurting all over the place. And that is a weird thing to say.
You got to control some spurts on occasion.
I can't control.
Is it a controlled spurt or is it an uncontrolled spurt?
Totally uncontrollable spurt.
Chaotic spurts.
Very chaotic spurts. And this is another example is spurt. How do you spell spurting? I'll make use as a promo. Anyway, so the other night, I alluded to this on the Tuesday episode of the BS 350. So it was Saturday before Mother's Day, and I left the poker room early because my wife had said, hey, Beez, our daughter, Ariel, she goes to this club in Sanford, Florida called The Barn. And it's run by a guy that I go way back with. And I didn't know that until recently, that we have a really cool history together. We worked with, when I was, Radio Buckethead, we worked together quite often. And when I was a regular at some of the adult gentleman establishments here, he was running those. So we worked together a lot. Actually, I think if memory serves, I should get him on the show. He's a great guy. If memory serves, he was managing Dancers Royale on 50. I think it's still there.
As far as I know.
Yeah. And that was the first time that I ever did package wrapping, the bit. And it started out as stripper package wrapping. That was the idea. And I did it with my friend Bubba Ray Dudley. He just left the WWE and he wanted to learn how to do radio. I was in a new time slot trying to figure things out. And when I say try to figure things out, first couple of weeks, if not months, were a rough road. And we set up a live broadcast at Dancers Royale. And the bit, and it was for Valentine's Day. It was for Valentine's Day. Come get your, nothing says I love you like getting your package wrapped by a stripper. That was the tagline.
Oh, like Dick in a Box style?
Well, this was way before Dick in a Box. But the play on words was get your package wrapped by a stripper, right? Ha ha, it sounds, the play on words. But you guys, and the idea behind it is guys don't know how to wrap prizes. Like we are horrible prize wrappers.
Without question, there's facts there.
Right. Like just really bad at wrapping prizes. So you would bring what you're giving your wife or your girlfriend or whoever to the strip club. I think you would get like a free drink, and then I'd have these beautiful babies, behind the tables, with their tassels and all that stuff, wrapping your package. And it was for a charity too. So I supplied everything and they would donate money and I would give that money to a charity.
So every one of these presents had free glitter.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, and this is also what I remember. The very first one, we did not do it for a monetary donation. We were collecting cans for a charity and they turned them down because of how we collected them.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. Now that I remember. Yeah.
Wow.
They turned them down because we were doing the stripper package wrapping, which package wrapping over the years just turned into package wrapping. And it was, I watered it down because the stripper days were kind of over and done with, and we would tie it in with a charity. And the idea, it don't matter what city I was doing radio in, the idea was to have like the cheerleaders from the sports organization of the town do it. Like in Orlando, it would have been the Magic Dancers.
Mm-hmm.
In Atlanta, it would have been the Falcons dancers or whatever, the Hawks dancers, whatever the case may be. That never panned out. So we would always do the event at like a Twin Peaks or a Hooters or something like that. So you still had kind of, guy chick edge to it. But over time, man, it kind of got like the bit was dead. It was very tough for me to give up on that bit because I thought it was very clever, but it was dead because that style of hot chicks and guys just ran its course. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, even now Hooters is just like holding on by a thread.
Well, yeah, they're going out. A lot of them going out of business. We did that, so I wanted to, the big goal for that, just like Bastard's Day Barbecue, I had this big vision. So the big vision for package wrapping was to do bikini package wrapping in a shopping mall. Because you see these ladies behind a table doing it. I'm like, dude, what if I put some good looking girls with bikinis behind a table in a mall?
The caveat is good looking girls, because most of these rappers at the mall, well, they're retired teachers and
right. Exactly. And the big vision for Bastard's Day Barbecue was to have a big concert, where we would, there was a radio station that existed back in the day in South Florida called The Buzz. And they had this really cool outdoor festival called the Buzz Bake Sale, play off of weed and stuff. They had cool bands come in. They were an alt radio station, really, really cool stuff. And that was the whole vision for that, to kind of do what they did with the Buzz Bake Sale. But none of those things happen. None of those things are ever going to happen. And I'm at a time in my life where I am swallowing the pill of it ain't going to happen. And you got to move on, and focus on other things. And I'm getting better at it with the help of Dr. David Markwell. I'm getting better at understanding, because I'm a goal-oriented guy. Like when my mind is set on something, I will try in any way, shape, form, or fashion, fail or not, to do it if I want to do it. But I finally reached a point in my life where I'm looking at certain things going, you know what? Move on. You just move on. You don't hear the noise. You just, you understand the reality of certain things, and you just move on. No matter what anybody thinks or no matter what anybody says, when you're a person that's trying to achieve success in your own way, there's going to be a lot of human obstacles in your way. And I'll tell you, if you're that person that is like what I'm talking about right now, the reason being is that they are jealous. They would like the oomph to do what you're doing. They would like the confidence that you're doing. Don't listen to the noise. Do you. Win, lose, or draw. Do you. There's no such thing as failure if you attempt to do something at 100%. Just doesn't exist. Mark that one. That's a Hallmark card.
I like that. Yeah. You just learn how not to try to do it the next time.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, don't repeat history.
That's insanity.
Now we're talking stupid stuff. Now you're talking dumb things. Let me get to this story about my daughter inviting me and Rach out to a club for the first time. That was
the first time you were invited?
First time we've ever been with our daughter as an adult. Well, I mean, I guess when we were at the University of Alabama, I don't know if we went out to a club.
Did you go to a kegger?
No, they had the parties like for her sorority rush and all that stuff, but we didn't go to the after parties kind of thing. I didn't want to. Rach wanted to go, and I was like, we're gonna cramp her style.
Who's the old guy in the corner?
Right. Okay. Remember you said that. That's my thought exactly. So this past weekend, well, before I start there, my daughter, now home for the summer, she goes to this bar in Sanford, Florida called The Barn. I used to do gigs there in the early 2000s, right? Just occasionally. So I haven't been to this place in over 20 years. Still exists. More popular than ever because A, it's a country bar. B, there's not another one around for miles. And C, TikTok has helped them out tremendously.
That place is a landmark too.
It's talk about property worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there in the heart of Sanford. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. It is perfect.
I mean, that was the first place Garth Brooks ever played in the state of Florida was The Barn.
Really? I didn't know that.
Upchurch. Literally, the crowd fell through the floor at an Upchurch concert. So there's just all kinds of like legendary things that have occurred at The Barn.
So my daughter goes there and line dances. In my head, I'm thinking country bar, line dancing, country songs, and everybody's doing their thing.
Where did you come from?
Also in my head, I'm thinking that there's only so many line dances. Like there's maybe 2 or 3. There's 2 or 3 songs that they play throughout the evening. Everybody goes out there, does 2 or 3 certain dances. In my head, I'm thinking electric slide, Macarena, like there's only a handful of things that everyone knows the dance to. I'm not comprehending that TikTok exists and everybody's learning these dances off of TikTok. That's a thing, by the way. I'll get to that.
Did not know that.
Oh, this night blew my mind. So we at first I was hesitant to go because I didn't want to cramp her style. I'm thinking that this night out with my daughter and her friends at the barn, we are going to be just Ben, as you said, the old people there, right? The barn is a very big place, very big. We get there and there are people of all ages. I mean, Like I saw 80 probably something year old couple there having fun, having drinks.
Mhm.
And then there are kids, like 18, 19, and it's under 20. I mean, it's 18 and up. So not everybody's 21 and up drinking. It was ladies' night. So if you're over 21, you get in, free, and you buy your drinks. If not, you pay like $7 or something.
Okay.
Ariel's under 21, so she doesn't drink. So she literally, her and her friends go there to dance. At that age, I wasn't, I was never a dancer. I'm not going anywhere just to dance, right? That's just silly. And I'm thinking, guys aren't.
Yep. We froze on you a little bit here, Bailey.
Chicks. That's what guys do.
Yep. You froze there.
No, what did you miss?
You said at our age, and then it froze.
At our age, well, when I was younger, you didn't go to dance. You went and picked up chicks and you drank.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we get there a little bit before them. We grab a drink and we're waiting for them to get in. They get in. We get a table. We're sitting there at a table, and I'm looking around and I see stuff on all these tables, cell phones, purses, stuff just laying there.
Really?
Nobody watching it. That's weird. So the song comes on and she wants to go and dance to it. She knows the dance. That's the dance to the song. All the girls leave their stuff on this table. I go, do you want me to stay back here and watch it? Like, oh no, it's going to be fine. That's what we do. Okay. So I'm still hesitant, even though I'm over by the dance floor watching my daughter do this line dance, which everybody knows. There's like 50 plus people on the dance floor doing the same dance.
Was there the obligatory little cake boy out there with him too, doing his thing?
It was people. Even though it's a country bar,
Mhm.
it is people from all walks of life, all color skin, all sexualities, all heights and weights, and it just, I'm in all of this. I mean, this is a great thing. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Another thing I noticed, nobody got dressed up. The girls especially. Go back to the 90s in the club scene. Girls would take hours. They'd go buy new outfits. Guys would go buy new outfits. I know I would go buy a new shirt because you're going out Friday night.
The foil front, baby.
No, yeah. A little fiction.
You got your own little tassels. Yeah, man.
These people didn't dress up at all. There were kids in gym shorts. The girls, barely any makeup. Again, that's fine. That's great. I love this. They were literally going to dance, to have a good time. So I'm watching Beez, and she's kind of still learning all this stuff, and it's fun. And she invited us to go out there with her. She wanted us to watch her. I thought that was weird.
I think that's pretty cool.
It is so cool. And I was not uncomfortable. After like 1 minute of being there, it was a thing. There were other, kids with their parents out there. Like, this is just the nuttiest thing I've ever heard of. Kids and their parents hanging out at the bar to dance, not even drinking, or nobody was drinking heavily. Like, I didn't see anybody stumbling around. I didn't see any bar fights. People would accidentally bump into each other, younger people. Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Very polite. Everyone extremely polite. All these kids had such good
That's
manners.
cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Manners are like so underrated.
Again, go back to 1997. Somebody bumps into, that's probably 90% of all bar fights start with somebody bumping into. I always thought that was the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Spilling a little beer on your shoe or on your jeans or something like that. And you get in a fight and you get arrested. It's hard, but you didn't have to worry about guns then either, or knives.
Yeah.
Look, it was just a fight. A fight would happen. So I'm like, okay. So she did her dance, and I'm figuring, okay, that's it. By the way, the dance that they all did in unison together wasn't even it wasn't even a country song. It was like a rap song. Like they had the country songs that have been remixed to dancey stuff, right? But this one was like a rap, like I never even heard of it before. It was some rap. So they're playing all types of music at this country bar. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, what happens now? So they get off the dance floor. We go back to the table. Stuff's all still there. What's next? So we're chit-chatting, talking, having a good time. Rach and I are sipping on our Tito's soda water, lemon and lime with a splash of pineapple. And that's, song hits. Time to go back to the dance floor. It's a different dance. Again, all these people know the dance. And I'm talking dudes that are blue collar, like just came from the mechanic shop. I'm talking like dudes dancing together. Not, I'm not saying that like it's bad, but like dudes like laughing and it was just the honest thing I've ever seen. Now I have seen it one time before, and I'll get to that at the very end of this. And this is the only time I've ever seen it. And this will all sum this whole story up and what it reminded me of.
Okay.
So throughout the evening at the barn in Sanford, Florida, we're watching all these people dance in unison to they're line dances, not what I'm thinking a line dance is. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's happy. Dudes are happy. Chicks are happy. The one constant though, I will say that's never going to change that I noticed was I took a look up at the DJ booth. I did not know the DJ, but the DJ was back there. And there was a guy, there was a dude back there that looked like a buddy or, somebody that just befriended him. They're doing the shots, a couple girls in the DJ booth. You know what I mean? And then the guy would occasionally get on the microphone and look over at the girls, that's, and you could tell he was probably about my age too. So he goes back. He like that's never going to change. The DJ booth will never change no matter how old you get. It's always going to stay the same. And you're always going to have, spin rats, that want to get back there and feel VIP and get the free shot. And
it just went from Jägermeister to Fireball. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Or green tea shots, that's probably something like that. I've seen this before. My daughter asks me and Rach to go to the barn in Sanford, Florida to watch her line dance. I've never seen so many dances that so many people from all walks of life having a good time knew this dance. It was like they took the same choreographed dance lessons. And I'm looking around and I'm going, this sure the hell ain't 1997. It's 2025, and 2025 is now the 80s because this tonight are living live and in color fucking Footloose. It was Footloose, dude. Kevin Bacon should be very, very proud. That's what this was. It was crazy to see this.
And at the barn, it definitely has a Footloose vibe. I'll give you that. There's lots of Ariats and Justins running around the place.
Yeah, it was the nuttiest thing I've ever seen, but in such a good way. I'm looking around at the guys that were dancing, and even when they were doing like dancing with the girls and stuff, it wasn't like they were trying to pick them up. It wasn't a sexual thing at all. I mean, my daughter had sent me a video a couple nights prior when she was out there, and this guy who teaches dance lessons at the barn, I guess, like these line dances lessons. She's dancing with him and he's teaching her these things and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, you better not let Mustache Man see that, her boyfriend. Like, well, I said it to him already. Is he okay with it? Yeah, he knows he's just a friend. That's great. That's fantastic. That wouldn't have flown in 1997.
Yeah.
Not even close. If I was dating a girl back in 1997, she not sent me a video, but I find out she's dancing with some dude. I'm getting a little pissed off about it. I know you're so jealous, Bailey. Oh, come on. You know what I'm talking about. You would have too.
So here's a little side note about the barn. Back in the early 2000s, my family and I were looking into buying it. It came up for sale, and I was going to run the place and all this stuff, and it obviously didn't end up working out. But one of the memories I have that I loved, like it lit a fire on me, is we went to check it out, and I took my parents to the barn, and they started playing Copperhead Road. Are you familiar with that song?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they actually back then, I would assume they still do. They had the dance floor mic'd. So when they played Copperhead Road, every eighth note, everybody on the dance floor stomps their boot on the wood.
So they did that. Yeah, they played Copper. That was one of the dances, and I thought that was really cool.
The whole place just booms.
The whole everybody loved that big foot down to the Nickelback plays Copperhead Road as part of their set list.
Okay,
they do a really good job of it because it's a badass song, right?
It's a great song.
It's a great song, fantastic song. So that was one of the dances that they did. Was the big?
They got to bring like the hustle back, start breaking down the real old school stuff. Bring some disco to the barn. That'd be rad.
See, I love choreographed dance. I can't dance a lick. Like, you're not going to see me on a dance floor. I have like zero rhythm, right? Even when I'm drunk, I've got no rhythm. And I remember I was dating this girl when I was at UCF. Her name was Debbie, and her dad was an immigration judge in South Florida. And I went down with her to meet her parents, and that night we were going out on like a nightly dinner cruise or something, because we were very happy together. They were happy, and she would tell, because I'd make her dinner all the time, and they thought that I was just the hip snips, right? So I'll never forget, I was sitting on their couch, and the mother or father, one of them comes up to me and hands me like a wad of cash. It was like $90 or something. It's just like, wow, what is this for? It's like, well, just have a good time tonight. Just have a good time and just have fun. I was like, geez, these people are great. And we go out on this cruise, this nightly cruise, and we're in this, bar club thing, the dance floor, and the Macarena comes on. And I'd never heard of the Macarena before. And everybody starts doing this dance. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And she looks at me and she goes, "You never seen this?" So she teaches me how to do the Macarena. And then she pulls me out on the dance floor and she teaches me how to do it. I'm doing it. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to learn the Macarena. And I thought I was Kevin Bacon in Footloose. I thought I was the coolest thing in the world. I was part of this choreographed dance that everybody in the world knew but me. And now I'm part of this crew. So I can only imagine when and there's like 50 of these dances that these kids are learning on TikTok. There were dudes out there that were, older than us, me, that were by themselves, and they were learning how to do this dance, and people were helping them. Not like they were a stray dog that was about to be put down, but just like, hey, join the party, old dude.
But they weren't putting out like creepy vibes at all to these young girls.
Not at all.
That's awesome.
That's
so weird and rare.
And the guy, the photographer that was there, this big bald-headed dude, but he looked like the nicest guy in the world. I met him briefly because I was talking to, the guy that runs the place, and he introduced, but anyway, he goes and he walks around on the dance floor with 2 boxes of blow pops, and people loved it. It was such a happy, feel good. Everybody's cool and chilling, and there's no cares and worries in the world, and we don't hate you for this, and we're not judging you for this, and I'm not trying to fight you for this. And because let's be honest, you go back to the 90s and the early 2000s and the club scene then, most of the time when you went out, at least from a guy standpoint, at least from my standpoint, you're always kind of looking over your shoulder, because there was always guys that they were going out for one reason and one reason only. That was the fight.
Tonight we gonna fight
to cause problems, to cause trouble, right? And you would always see it. There wasn't a night that I went out that I didn't see some kind of altercation. It just always happened, whether it's guys or girls. That whole vibe that I'm used to, unfortunately, as a Gen Xer, did not exist, at least on this night. I don't know if it's everywhere, but I can tell you this night, it did not exist. And
it was just described dance club utopia.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that even exist?
Right. Exactly. And so I'm sitting here going, I'm hanging out with my daughter. She's not drinking. She's not even trying to drink. That was the other thing, is if you were underage and you went to a bar and you could not drink because you weren't of age, you did not have an ID, you would try to find ways to drink. Not even her and her friends, not even, they didn't need it. They don't need it. They don't want it. They just wanted to dance.
Yeah. High on dancing.
Yeah, I'm just high on dancing, dude. So it was like we were there for a couple hours, if even. And then Rachel's like, all right, let's take off. I'm tired. I was like, I'm tired too. I was like, let's go home. And
all this watch and dance is exhausting.
This is what happens when you get to a certain age. You might have a big night out on the town like we did at the barn in Sanford, but you've got to get a little bit of your stories in before you shut your eyes at night. And we are so in deep with this new show Paradise on Hulu that the Mad Dog Manny Aurora referred to us for. And, I was like, I really want to go home and watch Paradise for a little bit. She's like, so do I. So we leave maybe 11 o'clock. All right. Thinking that it's still early for somebody that's, almost 20 years old and her friends. 2 o'clock's the cutoff. Everything closes then. Beez was home and one of her friends there like an hour after we left. They just came home. They were done. They danced and that was it. They were done. There's so many of these dances. It was crazy. I got to tell you, it was a very unexpectedly cool experience that I had. Didn't see that coming. Was not on my bingo card.
The last time I was at the barn was it was not that experience because I was there for a Saliva concert.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They played the barn a couple years back. It was shortly before Unc Wayne passed on us.
Josie Saliva or
no, it was Bobby
Saliva.
Yeah, it's just a couple years back. I mean, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah. I asked Bobby to come on this week. So tomorrow's released episode, he might be coming on to talk about Brad, which we'll get to here in just a second. But were you a club guy back in the day?
I was a bouncer. So yeah, I mean, I did the club thing, but from a bit of a different angle, this is up in Little Rock in the late 90s. I was a cheerleader, and 3 of the guys from my cheerleading squad were bouncers at the local big ass nightclub.
You were a cheerleader when you were what, in high school?
College.
You were a college cheerleader.
Yeah.
Did you get a scholarship for that?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the guys, okay, I'm not going to beat you up on it, right? So
no.
One of the guys that was line dancing very, very well. For some reason, I was fixated on him. I could not stop watching him because he was so entertaining and he was dirty. Like he had just got off work as a mechanic, looked like a mechanic. Right? He had a fluorescent yellow shirt on, big guy. I mean, bigger than you, big guy, but a good, like holds his own. Like you hold your own, big guy, holding his own. Big guy, good old boy. You can tell he's Florida born and bred, holding that weight. Wouldn't want to mess with him because when he gets mad, done day for you. But outside of that, he'd probably give you the shirt off his back. He just looked like that guy. Anyway, my daughter sees me looking at him and she goes, oh, that's such and such. We call him Big Tex. Maybe he's not Florida born. Tex. We call him Big Tex. He's like, yeah, he was over at her friend's house before they came over. And he teaches him how to line it. That was another thing. Like if you were a big guy, you normally weren't a good dancer, and you sure the hell ain't going out there to try to dance. Very few big guys can dance. I'm not saying none of them can, but just historically, very few big guys. And if you get that cool factor, you're like, oh, this is stupid. If you can't do something, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's, that's how most people think of it. This dude was tearing it up out there, man. Just tearing it up. He was so happy. No, the thing is, like, in my mind as a Gen Xer, there's an agenda to dance. That's to get laid. That's it, period, simple, end of story. I'm not dancing for exercise. I'm not dancing for religion. I'm not doing everything that Kevin Bacon said that King James, we dance for celebration of crops. We dance for rain. We dance to celebrate. Now, you dance to pick someone up. Yep. That's how you did it because you got close, you could touch, you could feel chemistry. It was the dirty dancing, salsa-y kind of thing going on, right?
Even if you have no shot to hook up with this chick, you could probably touch her butt. It was probably okay then.
Right, and you knew the girl wanted you if she junk bumped you,
yep.
Right? Or if she grabbed your arm, she's checking you out. She's seeing what she's dealing with there. She rubs her chest up when, you know, your butt's the nuts in a crowd, and she pops her boobahs up in your chest. You know, there's something there. There was none of that. Zero. None. I watched none of that. There were dudes, cool as shit, didn't take much to put on clothes that night, just went out of the house the way they were, tearing it up on that dance floor with their fella friends. Not even with the girls, just with their fella friends.
Remember how tricked out we used to get to go to Zuma Beach Club?
Oh, dude, it was a thing. I went out to do gigs, you know. Zuma Beach was my first steady gig that I ever got. You know, Mark Nejame, the owner, and Johnny Magic, he taught me how to do that, and he gave me his night. You know, the deal was like, hey, we got this new guy. I want to train him. I want to get him going. So I'll do, and he was kind of getting past his club days. He was like, I'll do one night out of the month and he can do the other 3. And dude, I'd be up on the DJ booth with DJ Scotty B, and, you know, we get the girls and the speakers, and I'd do the, hey, ho, hands up in the air, you know, all that stuff in top 40. But you were doing it to leave with a girl.
Yeah,
I mean,
we were trying to figure out, where are the Backstreet Boys buying their clothes these days? That's where I need to go shopping for Saturday.
It was the thing. It just totally different vibe, man. Totally different. Now, I've been to Hakkasan in Vegas, which is one of the world's largest nightclubs.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different vibe. And
yeah.
I'm sure what I was just talking about from the 90s and 2000s still exists in that type of atmosphere. I'm talking about this night at this place. Not the case at all.
I'm actually mad that I missed it now.
Yeah, I invited you out too. I was like, come out and drink.
But it was too late. I was already feeling old. I was watching my stories in my PJs.
You're like, what are my pajamas? I can't go anywhere. Like, dude, it's like 9 o'clock. Just throw a hat on. Well, you don't even need a hat. You don't have any hair. Just come out. Just go have a drink with me at the bar. It's right up the street from your house.
Yeah. It was just too late. It was post 8 o'clock. I had dinner. I was still digesting. You know, I had flannel. It was a thing.
I couldn't.
But now I'm glad that I'm mad that I didn't go, because that sounds like a good time. I would have enjoyed it.
Now, there was a couple altercations, like some guys with some fake IDs, and they're causing a little issues. And he's got a pretty good bouncer staff. I mean, these are some good old boys that,
yeah,
you know, they're going to handle some business.
Floger owned trucks.
And you could, like, it was fun. Now that was the throwback. That was like, okay, that still exists, you know. That was very entertaining to watch, you know. And the one guy said something to the bouncer, and the bouncer went after him. I was like, okay, this is good. I like this kind of stuff. This is kind of fun. Because this
were the bouncers all wearing boots?
No, I don't know about wearing boots, but they were like, I wouldn't have said anything to them. You know, they're pretty big dudes. You could tell that they had a little bit of a temper about them. They could handle themselves, no doubt. That's good. So anyway, that's my barn story. So the point of my story is 2025. That kind of nightclub, it's total Footloose. Footloose exists. Footloose is real. All these kids know, and they all learn it from TikTok. And that's what, you know, I guess, you know, especially during COVID, they went through some rough times at this establishment. But John, the guy that runs the place, was telling me, he's like, dude, we just blew up because people would come and they'd post these TikToks. And now we have like influencers from all over that'll come and they'll do their little reels and all that kind of stuff. And just blow, like now it's known nationwide. Everybody wants to come to the barn in Sanford, Florida.
I didn't even know it had gotten all that internet play.
Oh, it's huge. The place was packed. I mean, granted, it was a Saturday night, but the place was just, but it wasn't overly packed because it's so big. It was packed enough that you would occasionally bump into somebody, but it wasn't overly packed where, you know, now maybe I missed something and I was just naive to whatever bad element that still exists, because I'm sure it's still there. I just didn't see it at all.
Now, it used to be when you'd walk in the front door, you walk in between like a bar and the cashier, but on your left was like a totally separate room. They used to do karaoke and stuff up there. Was that still happening, or? Yeah,
I think they were playing like cornhole and stuff in there.
Interesting. Okay.
I know what you're talking about. There's a bathroom and there's a little room over there.
And then they have like mud runs and big truck competitions and stuff in the back of the parking lot, and
they had a nice
right in the middle of town. They do this weird stuff.
And then a nice old lady that had her little food truck out there with a big ass generator, and I just kept wondering how she got that generator out of her little food truck, because it's like a 9,000 watt generator. I was thinking a beast of a generator. Yeah, it was huge. I was like, that's the biggest portable generator I'd ever seen. And this poor old lady, she's running this. It was like Munchies, called Munchies food truck or something. I'm like,
Oh, Munchies was out there. Okay.
you're brilliant. I mean, if you don't make enough money to retire just on the couple nights that you're outside of this bar, because that's the thing. After you're done drinking and after you want something to eat, and you don't want to go out of your way for it. So if I can get it right then and there, boom. Back in the day, it was Planet Pizza, which still exists downtown Orlando. You'd sit there. So good, so bad. I mean, like, I wonder how I got fat at a young age. It was Planet Pizza or the hot dogs on the side of the street. You know what I mean?
Oh, you could get a full one of those giant sausages for $5 with peppers and onions.
In Sacramento, their downtown area, we go see a Sacramento Kings game, and they had this really cool little downtown area, and you'd walk and you'd have all these people that had mobile flat irons, like Blackstones.
Yeah.
And most amazing food, like these sausages, and if you're into the onions and the peppers, but they had the full Monty, man. They had the full spread out there for you. I was like, dude, what happened to just
sidewalk hibachi?
Yeah, it was. You could get like an actual dinner if you wanted to. There's just everything. It was a line of them. You're coming out of the little area, just a line of people with this food, and you could smell it as soon as you came out of the arena. It smelled so good. I try not to eat after 7:00, but move to a new town. Like, I got to try this. I got to try that. It was pretty damn good. So anyway, good for you, Barn. That was badass, man. That was nice. That was a hell of an experience. Like I said, hopefully on tomorrow's released episode 352, I don't know as of right now if he's going to join us, but Bobby Amario from Saliva is going to come on, lead singer of Saliva, to talk about the news that we had gotten over the week. We got it. We had already recorded for the episodes, but now, obviously we know more from Brad Arnold of 3 Doors Down. He released this on his personal social media as well as the 3 Doors Down social media.
Hey everybody, it's Brad from 3 Doors Down. I hope you're having a great day today. Got some not so good news for you today. And so I'd been sick a couple of weeks ago, and then went to the hospital and got checked out, and had actually got the diagnosis that I had a clear cell renal carcinoma that had metastasized into my lung. And that's it's stage 4, and that's not real good. But you know what? We serve a mighty God, and He can overcome anything. So I have no fear. I really sincerely am not scared of it at all. But it is gonna force us to cancel our tour this summer, and we're sorry for that. And I'd love for you to lift me up in prayer every chance you get. And I think it's time for me to maybe go listen to Not My Time a little bit, right? Thank you guys so much. God loves you. We love you. See you.
When I saw that video, I'm not going to lie, I cried. I did. I love Brad Arnold from 3 Doors Down. In my career, like radio people, we always like to say we're friends with people in the business, musicians and stuff. And I'm sure some radio people are very good for, I've got friends like that. I would call them a friend, but most of the time it's an industry friend, right? You see each other, you hang out, you have a good time, blah, blah, blah. Occasionally you keep in contact, but most of the time it's interviews and promoting and all those types of things. It's just the business. When I got into rock radio in early 2000s, WJRR up to this past year holds a festival called Earth Day Birthday. And I was so excited to be a part of it, but I was afraid. I was scared because I'd never been. I've been to Ozfest and I've been to a couple of the rock shows, and I was a rock guy, but I wasn't in the community yet. So I didn't know what to expect. So I was nervous, even scared. And as the radio person, you interview these people, and I was scared of that too, because I wasn't familiar with everybody and everything. And there were so many great artists and big artists. I didn't want to sound stupid. And I got some advice from a record guy, actually Steve-O, who is the guy that is credited for launching Collective Soul and Shinedown and all these other bands. And he said, whatever you do in rock radio, make sure you know the music and you love it, you understand it, you know it, and you're not faking it. So I remember studying, just as I would do for every Earth Day birthday. I would study for days and weeks of the bands, try to know as much as possible, even though they'd give you a book with some stuff. But then it got to a point where, I got to a point where I didn't even really need all that. I could just carry a conversation, and I started to develop my own style. But anyway, my first one, I think I'm getting this right, Three Doors was on the bill. And, they got they're kind of like Bon Jovi. They're one of the last bands that got their start from terrestrial radio. There's a radio station called Fox, I think, in Tennessee or something that, was the first to play them. I thought I was cool for knowing that information, and we said, we kind of hit it off. And I was like, God, that's kind of cool. I love this band. I mean, remember, Three Doors Down is technically a 90s band. They became a thing in, I think, 97, 98 when Kryptonite came out. And I remember burning that song onto a CD and playing it so much that I had to burn it to another CD because I had played it so much it scratched. And so I'm a fan. And now I'm sitting there with the lead singer, and he's enjoying this conversation, which probably at the time was not very good, but he was very sweet. And just like most guys in the business, you're going to go through your tough times and you're going to have your demons. And, it's the strong ones like Brad and Brent from Shinedown that overcome those demons, and they get back to being to them. So over the years, Brad was always available for me. I had ways to reach him. And if I needed him on any of my shows, I can't remember a time where he turned me down. He even at one time, before I got into podcasting full time, and I was trying to figure out how to do it, I was going to launch a music-based podcast. I forgot what it was called, and it was a bad idea. I mean, maybe a good idea. It was just executed poorly.
Bad timing, yeah.
And I reached out to him and I said, hey, look, I'm trying to do a demo for this podcast to see if it will work, but I need kind of a guinea pig. Can I get some time with you? And he did. It was actually kind of interesting. I was asking kind of the idea behind the podcast was to get musicians and artists on and ask the basic questions that radio doesn't really have time to ask anymore. Like, why the name of that song? What's the story behind that song? And you would take like their three biggest hits. It was very fascinating because there was stuff, even though interviewing Brad so many times over years, that I didn't even know of. Like Not My Time was, I believe, originally made for the movie Poseidon, I think. And I don't know if they ended up not using it or something. It obviously became a big hit, but it became an anthem for people. And he went in to tell stories about people with chronic illnesses and cancer and stuff, that was their song, to get them back into a positive mindset and say, look, it's not my time to go. It's not my time to die. But that song was originally made for that movie. I remember him telling me that. So anyway, Brad holds a very near dear spot to my heart. There was a time when they were playing at Universal Studios and they were playing with ZZ Top, and I went backstage and went to go on Brad's bus, and I was goofing around or something, and the bus that was right next to him, I think I hit the window or it bumped it. Like it was loud. And he comes out and he goes, what are you doing? What are you doing? I said, oh man, sorry. And he's like, that's ZZ Top's bus. It's Billy. He's like, oh, I was like, I can only imagine, like Billy or Frank or somebody comes out of their bus and like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting yelled at by ZZ Top. Coolest. But anyway, we hung out on his bus and talked about knives. And it was right after Valentine's Day. And Rach had just bought me my Sub 2000, my gun. And I'm showing pictures of the gun. We're talking guns and talking about, his love for his Lexus. I don't know if he still has it. I would assume he does. His first car was this like old Lexus GS 300 green, I think it was. And he still drove it around even after all the millions of dollars that he made. He loved that car more than anything. But those little things might not be compelling for me telling you that right now, but if you're having a conversation with someone that you're a fan of, as I'm a fan of Brad Arnold of Three Doors Down, and that you admire, and you get those little bits of information that you're not going to get from an interview, whether it's with me or from somebody else, because no one's going to ask a question to get that information. You're sitting there talking, like you're showing me pictures of his knife collection because some guy makes him these custom-made knives and his love for the knives. I mean, just little things like that. Again, right now in this setting might not be compelling and over the top to you, but look at it from a different standpoint. And that's the kind of guy Brad was. Brad loved, or is, I'm saying past tense, so sorry.
Yeah, he's still kicking.
Brad loves singing. Brad loves what he does, but he's just a dude. He's a good old Southern boy with a big
what I've learned about the music business is sometimes it's very dangerous to get access behind the curtain because you get let down by your heroes. But I have never heard a bad thing in all my conversations about Three Doors Down. I've never heard a negative thing about Brad Arnold. So when you get to see behind the curtain and you realize the Wizard's actually better than you could have thought he was, then it's going to be impactful when you find out something bad happened to the Wizard,
Yeah. There's nothing bad, that I ever, like, I wouldn't say if there was, but he just is such a good guy, and there are a few people in the business that you get to, kind of have that type of relationship with. And Brad was one of them. And so, like to see it, and I see that video and, I'm trying to put the pieces together because they're supposed to play Rockville, Welcome to Rockville. And obviously that's not going to happen, but I'm wondering if he would have told that information, said that information, if he didn't have to explain why the tour was canceled. You know what I mean? Because you just if you've known for a couple weeks and now you're saying it, and I'm not trying to pick apart what he's saying. I'm looking at him and, I know he says, well, I'm not afraid. And I know he's a believer and his faith is strong and stuff, but you could start to hear his voice crack at the end. And that's when I lost it. When I heard his voice crack at the end, and I don't think I missed it, but I think his voice started to crack a little bit. I'm like, I can't even imagine what he and his family are going through right now. It's just absolutely horrible. I mean, this guy's like 47 years old. This sucks. This is stupid. He should not have this. He can live with one kidney, but when that gets into somebody's lungs, that's a totally different fight that you're fighting right there at stage 4. Totally different fight. And I'm sure he's got the best doctors, and God, I hope he does. But man, I love Brad Arnold. I absolutely love Brad Arnold. And Brad, when you get older and you start to see your heroes get sick, oh, heroes is the right word, but you start to see people that you admire get sick. It stings even more in a very selfish way, whether you like it or not. I think it's uncontrollable because you're like, well, how much time do I have? When is this going to happen to me? 2 weeks ago, Brad's out there doing his thing on stage, not thinking twice about it, just doesn't feel well, goes to the doctor, and then boom, within 2 weeks, his entire world changes. And now he doesn't know what the result's going to be. That all happened in 2 weeks, less than most likely, a day, a minute, at the doctor's office. And that's going to happen to most of us, unless we get hit by a bus or die in a plane crash or something, right? But when you get sick and you get that news, your entire world changes. We see it all the time with patients at Alive, telling their stories of, there's a guy in his 20s that's got stage 4 cancer that comes in to see us to get ozone therapy. And it just breaks my heart every time. I'm going, this guy's 20-some years old. He hasn't even lived a quarter of his life. And his whole world has to change. Now he's got to come see us and go see doctors and get chemotherapy and all these things, when the dude should be out going to the barn and partying and hanging out with girls and drinking it up and doing dumb shit, not going to doctor's offices his entire life. It's like, if you've ever visited St. Jude's, in which I have, or any children's hospitals, these kids, their entire childhood is not a normal childhood. They try to make it. They do a very good job of trying to make it a normal childhood with their environment, but they're not, waking up, goofing around, staying in their PJs, playing video games, going out there, throwing the football, getting in fights, hanging out with girls, going over people's houses, doing sleepovers. They're every day, they get to play, but they're getting doctor's appointments, getting poked with needles, transfusions, laid up in bed. It just breaks my heart, man. It just absolutely breaks my heart. And it scares me. There's no way that you can fight not having a selfish feeling behind any of this type of news that you get from people that you admire, because it all comes back to you, right? It comes back to you and you go, God, one, you obviously feel for that person, but two, you can't control it. You're going, what if that's me? What if that's me? It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I always say, if you can survive that 56 or 46 to 56 window, you're straight like skull. You can live a happy life. That 46 to 56 window, dude, that's when the weird shit happens. I don't know why. It's just, I see it all the time with friends and all kinds of stuff. So anyway,
I think that's when your youth catches up to you.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, look, there's no secret. Brad partied, and he had demons at one time, but that I don't think has anything to do. I mean, kidney cancer. Well, I guess it would. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely can break down from a cellular level. I mean, I thought I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof when I was in my 20s and 30s, man. And I treated my body like an amusement park. And when I hit 40, that part hit a screeching halt. And I had all kinds of things starting to break that I never would have anticipated, which makes your mortality come into play.
Yeah.
And that's right in that window, man. Yep.
So hopefully Bobby will join us tomorrow's episode, and he can share some stories as well. Obviously from an artist standpoint, it'll be a different view. It's cool. But I posted a video, and I don't know if any of you guys would like to do it. I thought I'd get more of a reaction. Actually, I got a bigger reaction on YouTube and TikTok. I got our YouTube channel. I don't know. I know YouTube changed the algorithm, but at the Bailey show, it is crushing. Like, the views are crazy. It is awesome. So thank you for that. If you don't subscribe to that, obviously free on YouTube, but please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're a YouTube person. But on TikTok, which I'm not a huge fan of, when I posted this video the other week about, love for Brad, I played it on Alexa, and oddly enough, not my time came up, but I said, hey, do the same, post the video and tag Brad. And, whether it's a cassette or a CD or vinyl, or you want to sing or whatever the case may be, do that. And I saw Bobby from Saliva, he and his daughter, is it Veda?
Yeah.
Yeah. They'd done a 3-Door song. And
she's badass too, by the way.
Oh, she's amazing. So I don't know if I get a little credit for him doing that or not. Rumor is that they did talk about it from a mutual friend. So I don't know. I kind of feel cool about that. I did, but I wanted fans to do that, knowing that Brad's isolated. He's not alone physically, but I can't just the news of getting that and what's going through your brain. But if he had an influx of fans sending him, hey, we love you, and they're playing 3-Doors in some shape, form, fashion, dude, that make lift his spirits up. So if you want to do that, just tag him on any social. I know he reads them, so Facebook and Instagram, I know he reads them. So if you want to do that, and I think he's also on X, so you can do that as well. You didn't do it, Benjamin.
No, I did not. I was trying to find the right song, and every time I'd get there, I'd get interrupted. So it's on my agenda. Might happen tomorrow.
Well, please, sooner the better.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I did share the hell out of your stuff, and I told you personally how classy I thought that was. I think that's a big move, and I do support it. I just got to get better at doing it myself.
It's tough to make things go viral. Only if I were a hot 19-year-old girl in a bikini.
Well, I'd spend more time with you.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna hire. Well, that's creepy. Just hire a 19-year-old. I know you're going, what about your daughter? I'm not going to utilize my daughter.
No.
Shares, but find some, Venezuelan 19-year-old bikini model.
Can't you be 26 so it's not creepy when I say shit like that?
Yeah, we'll do 26. Yeah, and then
Yeah, thank
take
you.
the teen out of the equation.
Yeah, better.
That's why, I tell Rach that, my wife is very attractive. She's very friendly. She's very welcoming, very warm. And I'm trying to use her more in the videos, the reels and stuff that we do for Alive, because the views are up. I mean, look, there's no doubt about it. The internet loves women, good looking women. The internet loves them. She's the face of Alive Ozone Therapy Spa. I purposely am not, because of that. It makes more sense I'm trying to get her to be more active and send me videos so I can put them in the social stuff. And for some reason, she can't figure it out. She can post a video laying in bed talking about how I'm running around naked and everybody loves it and get thousands of likes on it. And it's funny. And she does it without breaking a sweat. But when I ask her to do 15 seconds about ozone therapy, she gets all weird, So I don't know. And then I did, we got you can now take a personal tour of the spa. I'd posted.
That's cool too, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a suggestion. It was a suggestion from somebody. I thought it was a good idea. So I had Rach kind of introduce it and I'd remove the background. She was like, I look like a South Park figure. I'm just kind of going back and forth. And I'm like, dude, you know how many views I've got on that thing? Because just you talking, it's amazing, because of you talking. If I just would have put words and had some AI voice do it, nobody would give a damn. But you doing it, I've got 10 times the amount of views. Just don't understand it. All right. We do a segment called What the Fuck? And what this is me finding just random videos. Usually when I'm at a poker table and I'm not getting any hands, I go through and find some goofy videos and I love them and I want to share them to you. So I save them and then I play them back on a future episode. Here's this episode's of the BS podcast. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
All right.
They made that flight. You did. And you think you're gonna check me in? I bet you we won't. Hey?
I paid for a ticket.
And you didn't pay $25 for agent assist fee, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that I.
You get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the $25.
And you thought you were gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight. And you thought you was gonna get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in, and you decided that you ain't going to let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for. I'm here 30 minutes before the flight.
Can you please leave, sir?
No.
Can you please leave my personal space?
I'm not in your personal space. This is not your personal space.
This is my stationary.
This is not your personal space. You work for a company. This is not your personal space.
We ain't got to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. You're literally not doing your job for a customer that has paid for a plane ticket to get home.
I told you to stop putting the camera on me, sir.
I'm literally here at Frontier. I bought a ticket and they are not letting me check in. For no reason whatsoever.
Well, you said you're never flying the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline.
I've already bought a ticket. I've literally already bought a ticket, and this is your reaction.
Wow, dude. You want to know why people get pissed off at customer service when you get that? Boy.
I wonder why Frontier has such a bad reputation as an airline.
I think you have to, with Frontier, pay extra for good customer service. They're pretty much an a la carte airline, I think.
That's basically what they were saying. You didn't pay $25 for good customer service. He's like, I'm offering to pay it now. They're like, well, now you're too late. You didn't buy the good customer service package, so we're not going to do our job. That, by the way, I did hear there's a backstory to this video that I caught up on.
Yeah.
Every one of the people at the counter got fired.
Yeah.
They didn't have a choice.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice.
Yeah, just like any other video, though, if you're seeing it at a start point, I'm sure something happened before that set these people off, but still, no excuse.
Everybody had their camera phones out because something happened before that we don't know about yet.
Right. Yeah. I think the guy probably quickly pivoted when he started filming or however he decided to edit it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the guy, if the guy was a dick, then, you as the employee, You know, you just say, hey, look, and you call your supervisor and have your supervisor deal there. But these are, you know, those like, it's just a certain attitude, man. It's they forget that, you know, I mean, like you can argue and be like, well, don't treat them like, let's just say the guy treated him horribly. All right. Let's for conversation's sake. Like, well, you know, it's time, you know, customer service is over this shit. That's fine. You can react that way. You are just going to get fired. You have to understand that you represent something bigger than you. Doesn't matter. You don't matter. Your personal feelings don't matter. If they do matter and you decide to take action for them, that's fine. That's on you. If you can sleep better at night, you just ain't getting a paycheck anymore from that employee. It's going to be bad. It was like the main girl in front. She was leading the charge. Then she had her little lackey next to her, the girl that looked like she tried out for the WNBA. And then the guy at the end, where he came from, I have no idea how he's all pissed off. Well, you said you're never, like, if anything, that guy really loves Frontier because he was pissed that the guy said he's never going to fly Frontier again. You know, so I kind of give that guy a little bit of a pass where he's like, I want you should love Frontier like I love Frontier.
But that guy was like, look, you said you're never going to fly again, so we should probably just put you on this plane so we don't have to deal with you anymore. That was that guy's reaction.
No, he was the opposite. He was agreeing with the girls not giving the ticket. That's what he's like.
I heard it differently. I heard to me, I swore he was like, you just said you're never flying again, so let's just put you on a plane so we don't have to deal with you anymore.
No, that's not how I got it. I got it like he's like, well, this is what you get. You say you're not flying with us anymore. But the dude bought a ticket. He had a ticket. I don't understand how it got that way though. Like, how do you have a ticket and they're like, you don't even need them. Like you can check in. You can check in at the
kiosk thing.
Yeah. So I don't understand.
What town do you think this happened in? What city was this airport?
I can tell you here.
Is it on the thing? Before you say it,
yeah.
See if I. All right, ready? Houston.
Hold on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to tell you in this story. Oh, God, dang it! Why can't these people make this easier? Hold on, here we go. Agents fired. Oh, okay, here I got it. You're saying Houston?
I'm thinking Houston, maybe Akron, but I'm thinking Houston.
Akron. You went from Houston to Akron.
There's a reason.
No, flight from Raleigh, North Carolina to Boston.
Okay. Yeah, Raleigh. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, to Boston. Per the New York Post, a man who did not want to be identified arrived at the airport about 50 minutes before his flight. When he tried to check in at an electric kiosk, okay, he wasn't able to as he had missed the airline's 60-minute pre-departure window. What is that?
Okay, so you have to check in at the kiosk within a certain time period. He was late, so he went to the desk to check in.
Yeah, he said he wasn't aware of it. I wouldn't have been aware of it either. That said can you check in on an app or something? That said he tried to check in with Frontier employee who told him there'd be a $25 fee. Per the airline's website, this fee, known as the prepaid airport agency assistant charge, what a scam.
My God.
Is legit. When he inquired more about the charge, the agent and her coworker started taking cracks at the man. They all kind of started chiming in. Well, you should have checked the website, like not in a professional or polite way. They were like, it was your fault for not checking the website. Sorry, it's on you. I could see that happen. I buy that.
Mm-hmm.
It was around this time that he whipped out his phone and started recording. He continued to converse with the workers about the fee. Finally, he agreed to pay it. But as he got out his wallet, he muttered, I'm never flying this shitty airline again. He told the Post that's when he said this, the agents were taken aback by the words and decided he wouldn't be allowed to check in at all. So hold on. If that's the case, I got to say the same thing for the chicks as I did for the guy. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, I know this is kind of a weird, different twist on this story, but if they love Frontier that much and they get offended by somebody calling their airline shitty, it's actually kind of cool, you know. At least they
if it had anything to do with the airline, sure, it did. No, they just didn't like him catching attitude and using foul language in their general vicinity in her personal space, as she said.
Yeah, but that was afterwards. Like literally, it says here that they got upset after he called the airline shitty, and they got pissed off about that. You heard the guy at the end. Well, we're just going to help you out with not putting you on the flight if you didn't like our airline. Like, these people really love Frontier that much that they get pissed off. There's something to be said about that. I think I have a different outlook on this. I think I'm on Team Frontier, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm not, but hey, why not? Sure. We can play devil's advocate that way.
And you thought you were going to get on the flight. You were about to let me check in. You decided that you ain't going to let me check in. Make me check you in. Then can you please leave my personal space? That was silly.
That was stupid. Yeah.
The agent then walks away from the counter as the man reiterates that he bought the ticket. He's just trying to check in. A Frontier worker, a different counter, chimes in. Well, you said you were never going to fly the airline again, so we might as well help you out and have you not fly the airline. The man ended up buying a $500 JetBlue ticket to get home to his wife and kids. Frontier later reimbursed him after he called to complain. Frontier confirmed that they were aware of the situation, had been in touch with the customer. The airline also noted the agents who escalated the situation with the man had been canned. The individuals in question who worked for a third-party contractor, interesting. So they don't even work for Frontier. They work for a third-party contractor, are no longer associated with a Frontier account. Frontier does note on its website that passengers must check in 60 minutes before. That's silly. That's a scam, dude. We'll check
$25 to deal with a real person. Yeah,
that's a scam, dude. They
got to pay third party, man. They can't afford to keep their own employees. So
yeah. So does every airline employ a third party at the?
No, but Frontier is like that's Soul Plane, dude. They are the most ratchet ass. They're worse than Spirit.
They're trying to get you for everything.
Everything, and then they do this as an airline. This is a pretty good representation of a Frontier experience. Frontier and Spirit is worse than Allegiant.
So I went one time. I was going to fly Spirit, or I was looking for a cheap airline ticket, and I was like, all right. So I know some people that fly Spirit. I know some people that fly Frontier. Let me try it. It was difficult. Like their website, there were so many options. I go, I'd rather pay the extra couple $100 and fly the best, which is Delta. I was like, I feel comfortable in Delta. I don't even know who's flying these planes, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting on it. I couldn't figure out the website. It was just too much. And then like by the time I got to like the end page, the ticket that was supposed to be $49 was like $380.
Yeah. Yep. You said you wanted water and to actually bring any luggage whatsoever. It's going to be another $114.
It's crazy how easy it is to hornswoggle people. I'm still at this situation. I have to find the energy to follow through with it because I tried and it just was too much. So this new doctor that I started going to in Deltona, Florida, through my insurance, United Healthcare, I went for a normal exam, a yearly checkup, which is covered under your insurance. Okay. Mm-hmm. Everything's covered. I get a bill for $210 from them. And so I'm trying to figure it out. So I call the doctor's office. I select billing, which takes me to a third party, some kid, maybe 22 years old, barely speaks English, can't put a sentence together, is just a robot reading off a piece of paper. And I'm like, what is this? Like, explain to me what this charge is for. Like, I went to the portal and looked at it and it said, like, I'm being charged $210 for this behavioral analysis report. Like, what is that? He can't answer it. He's like, call the doctor's office. So I call the doctor's office, like the doctor's office that I went into. They can't answer it. And the lady was kind of rude about it. She's like, I don't know. Just pay it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay it. It's supposed to be covered by my insurance.
I don't know. Just pay it.
I was like, that's why I pay the insurance. And so she's like, well, you got to talk to this lady. I said, fine. So I finally talked to this lady. She was actually very nice. And she's telling me that I shouldn't have to pay it, but I got to call my insurance company. I said, well, can you just explain to me what it is? And she knows what it is, but she's dodging answering it. I said, I get the impression that you don't want to explain to me what this is. And she's like, well, you remember when you filled out that Q&A? I said, yeah. She goes, Well, that's what you're being charged for. I said, I'm being charged for answering questions that you asked. She goes, yeah, insurance makes us do it now, but they should pay for it. I'm going, this is absurd. Why isn't anybody talking about this? Does anybody else have this same problem? This is ridiculous. So you're charging me $200, give or take, for questions that I answered, that you asked me, that I didn't even ask for. And she goes, yeah, because it has to go through this, this thing and this analysis thing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. She goes, but you shouldn't have to pay for it. So I call the insurance company and they're like, again, a guy, idiot, barely speaks English, can't put two words together, not even in this country. And he's like, yeah, you got to pay for it. I'm like, I'm not paying for it. You're going to have to, but you can't fight that kind of stuff because eventually they'll just take you to collections.
Right.
You can't, it's impossible to fight it. It's impossible unless you really want to fight it and go to court and all that stuff. It's ridiculous. So this week I'm going to try to tackle it again and try to figure it out. And then the doctor's office is always like, yeah, it's out of our hands. It's in the insurance company's hands because the insurance company is not paying for it, but you're charging them.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. You're charging them for this. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway. All right. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you putting up with us. If you are not a subscriber to the podcast, please join us. It's very simple. It's $4.99 a month. You have hundreds of episodes that you can go back to. You have thousands of hours of content. Plus you get the Tuesday and Thursday shows. This is as of right now. I know I keep alluding to the fact that there are going to be some changes to the feed, and hopefully I will be able to make those changes. One of them is already a done deal, and it'll probably start at the beginning of June. I also have some other cool news about another podcast that I'll be doing outside of the BS podcast, but I'm waiting for a couple things to be able to follow through with what my intentions for this podcast was all along. I can finally get that done and get those things moving. So anyway, thebaileyshow.com. All of our socials are on there at Listen to the BS, at The Bailey Show on YouTube. Please like, share, and follow all of our socials if you don't already. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the upkick the last week or so. I don't know what happened. I know where a lot of you are coming from, so thank you for that. Appreciate it. And some of you new subscribers, a couple in particular, it's nice bumping back into you and sharing some stories from back in the day, back in the Buckethead days. So that was good. So thank you for following through with the subscription. And Saturday mornings, don't forget, if you're in and around Central Florida, WJRR, Saturday morning, 6 to 9, a condensed version of the podcast. It's cool. There's music with it and cool tunes and whatnot. And in the Jacksonville area, Planet Radio, 6 to 9 every Saturday morning. If you're in that area, if you're not in either one of those areas, not a problem. Download the iHeartRadio app on your phone and play WJRR or Planet Radio Saturday mornings, and do me a solid and go to their social media and say that you dug the show. It makes us look good. If you are a sponsor and interested in jumping on and getting the word out about what you do, please reach out to me. We have great sponsors, and I hope you two peers use those sponsors if you need them. But if you are a possible new sponsor, would love to have you. I think that's it as far as the business goes. You got anything before we get out?
Man, I love it when people use the word hornswoggle in conversation. So thanks for tickling that little scratch there, Bailey.
Yeah, I'm tickling your scratch.
Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle. All right, look, have yourself a great, safe rest of your day. As always, we appreciate the support. Thanks so much. Start posting on the social media. Oh, become a part of the private BS Two Peers Facebook group. Just search the BS Two Peers on Facebook, and I'll let you in. All right, have yourself a great, safe rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Hey, bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out thebaileyshow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!"
What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at thebaileyshow.com. Yeah, baby.